All right. Well, hello, digital ramblers. How are you doing? I hope that y'all had a fantastic week, and we certainly did. And my goodness, it was just a blur. Like you said, I live in a blur. How are you, my good friend Chris Gamble?
I'm good. I'm straight off the pitch. With dedication to the podcast. I'm hot off the football pitch, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Well, I think you're a little excited for more just for. I mean, you're up late for more just from being off the pitch. I mean, tomorrow's a little special day for you, if I remember correctly.
Just another day, a birthday. Getting older.
Wiser, as we say it in the Cannon household. Another
Yeah.
year wiser. Well, happy
Good.
birthday, Chris.
Thank you. I've got a day of surprises. My wife's got a fun day planned, but she won't reveal what we're up to.
Yeah, well, good. Well, at least our less is more approach is less service call and more solutions, And you and I over the week have been really drilling deep and talking about this smart home supercycle and this topic that has just been gnawing at us.
Yeah, it's been a discussion point between us, and it really became a catalyst for us to get back on the podcast last week. And thank you to everyone who tuned in, and the comments and feedback we got was excellent. And it probably resonated with people because they're seeing it. The other people that are in our industry, the people that are embracing smart home, looking at the choices they now have, the maturity of the market, it truly is, a wave that people are jumping on and wanting to ride.
Yeah, and why is this important to our listeners?
Well, for me, it's important because I feel it's the last piece to become truly smart. I think it was fractured away from seeing your personal devices, your vehicles, your workplace. I think the home all stayed very traditional, and home builders maybe didn't do it the service it deserved. So it is its time. There is an alignment, and we're seeing people now demand more from their home, and that demand requires a professional touch.
Yeah, I think this super cycle, we're going to see an exponential growth in technology. I mean, if we just think back to the 80s where we were just a few decades ago and to where we are now, and even if you think for 40 years prior to the 80s, and obviously I wasn't alive back then, but just in that 80-year time swing, Gamble, we have been since the 1940s, gone from almost all black and white to where we are now, as far as in just and wirelessly distributing that anywhere that you want to access it. Just in that 80-year leap, I think we're going to see another 80 years and a third of that time, just because the exponential growth, and a lot of that is going to be in our homes.
Correct. And that's a trickle down from things that have happened in commercial spaces, things that have happened in an industrial space, things that have happened in military. A lot of communication technology stems from military use. It stems from, companies like NASA, companies like SpaceX. These people are accelerating, and there will be a trickle down effect. You're seeing the dawn of driverless vehicles. You're seeing the dawn of artificial intelligence supporting in the workplace, in the home, with medical, with law. You're going to see gaps filled very quickly that if it was left to just human power, it could slow down that exponential curve. But now we have all the tools, and those tools are going to start entering the home through platforms, through devices, through frustration because if your home is not at the same pace as everything outside, then it's going to be very noticeable, and the home has got to keep up with what's happening outside of the four walls.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's really important to understand what type of infrastructure and things of what type of infrastructure to be preparing for your house, so that when these devices do come online or you find a way to implement them, you're ready to go. I saw something really interesting, Gamble. I was out walking Big Jake this morning, and I have a neighbor who loves his Teslas. He's got like two, he might have three, and I just don't realize it yet, but he definitely has two. And I guess he and his wife are always jockeying for the right spot there in the driveway so that could use the charger. But this morning, and I've never seen it done this morning, or I've never seen it done this before. But this morning when Jake and we were out walking, this guy had somebody come in and install a Tesla pedestal, charging pedestal in his front yard. And so he could park in the street and then charge his, vehicle from the street. And I think that is going to be more and more, and maybe that is done in other cities, but it was the first one that I have seen in at least in Houston, to where it was so accessible for him to easily charge his vehicle. And I don't know, maybe other people will be able to pull up and charge their vehicle as well. I didn't see how there was a safety feature on there, or a me only feature, but I thought it was pretty cool that he had taken the time to say, "Hey, I want to do something unique." I at least found it unique, but he's preparing his home for his needs that he's having now, and he was finding a solution to a need that he has now that I had never seen. I thought it was a really cool solution.
Well, for me, that's a scenario I talk about where it's a frustration for me because I see a new home being constructed and the energy supply, whether that's solar panels, wind, some kind of heat pump, those have been prepared ready for the home. Then I see electrical infrastructure in place for charging one, two, or three vehicles. That's all in place. Then I see telecommunications brought into the building, and it just sits at the front door on some kind of outlet with no way of then distributing through the house. So that's where the Home Tech Pro, early in projects, dialogue with home builders, dialogue with architects, that's how they're able to deliver the internet speeds that you're paying for, tens of pounds, maybe £100 if it bundled in with entertainment, to deliver that to the living room, the kitchen, all the bedrooms, the back garden, the basement, everywhere gets the connection it deserves. But if you choose to omit that, you're really downgrading the home and giving it, a slow start where it should be up to pace with all the other technology that's expected to be ready to go.
Yeah. I just see a future of the home becoming more of a utilitarian type of a place, and its network being like we've always talked about, the foundation that even the home is built upon. And all of the home's function is going to be based off of that network, and how that home functions technologically is really where that value is in that home's going to be. So it's not only going to be the area that home is built in, or the utilities in that area, but I think it's going to be the technology that is built into the infrastructure of your home.
Yeah, and the network needs to start to evolve. And I'm a networking guy. It's one of the core services we offer as a company. I like to build a network, and I feel it's deserving now, where there's some segregation. Kitchen appliances, I like to try to keep them isolated from other things. I've still got my wits about me with those devices. I'm not fully on board with 4 or 5 different brands, their own distinctive ways of talking on the network. I'm not really down with them. So I keep them at arm's length on a separate network. Then I've got my voice assistants who they don't really need to know the primary network. They just need to talk out to Amazon or Google or Apple. So I'll segregate them as well. Just to be cautious. It's purely just network efficiency, network security. But again, if you just connect everything to one hub and expect it all to work harmoniously and not have any threats and not suffer from you know, network mismanagement, go ahead. But you will see the side effects of a bad network when you're now starting to see on average 20, 30, 40 devices needing speed, needing signal strength.
Yeah, absolutely. The 20, 30, 40 devices is pretty average, Gamble.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, yeah.
goodness gracious, um, people used to have just 10 to 15 devices just several years ago. And that's what I'm talking about, the exponential growth of devices being connected to the network. And so like vehicles that are be stationed outside of your home need to have a reliable network if it's your own personal vehicle. So getting that reliable network out to that vehicle is going to be important. I think also getting the network into the house. We're seeing a shift in service providers, and our biggest shift is towards the Starlink and the service, the reliable service that they're bringing to homeowners. And really, we're using it as a rollover for dependence and for reliability. And so yeah, the network is a huge part of it. And
Yeah, and we all know internet speeds are increasing. Some areas still suffer from slow speeds, but if you're in an urban environment, there could be providers offering 1,000 or gigabit internet. Uh, they could be offering more than that, 1.5, 2,000 megabits per second. Okay. Now, if your network is running on the 10-year-old tech, the 20-year-old tech, and you've got 100 megabits per second network equipment, or you've got just gigabit ports on your router, you are again narrowing the speed, throttling the service that can be delivered. If your Wi-Fi access points are only capable of handling 250 megabits per second traffic, or 7 or 800 megabits per second, that still sounds a lot, but you're not giving the speed that's coming in the full fat impact to get around the home. Yes, there's limitations on devices. I understand that some devices only have network ports that run at certain speeds. But do you know that? Your Home Tech Pro will know that. So that's why you need to bring in the Pro. The Pro will deliver the goods.
yeah, and it's not only in Wi-Fi, but it's also in HDMI signal quality, as well as an audio gauge for whenever you're doing speakers. And
Yeah.
so those types of details are very important whenever you're designing or specing out a system. And those are paid for educational experiences. I remember learning about that and realizing, we've got a new HDMI standard to prep and put in there, because it's not a pinch. It's not that it slows it down and then it unpinches and goes out the other way. It's diminished to its full output, and so you need to make sure from end to end that system is designed appropriately for its maximum capability.
And that's the continuation of education that your pro is doing. I think the new pathway in education, certainly from what I saw going to the expo last year in Denver, was more presence from lighting manufacturers, more education around lighting, all that extra low voltage lighting running at 24 volts, 12 volts, the consideration of distances where you've got to go from a higher voltage, step down with a transformer or power supply to deliver, 20 or 24 or 12 volt LED strip lighting, color changing lighting, addressable lighting. Again,
The
it's
LED game.
yeah, again, another thing that's moving so fast outside of the home that no longer is it just one fixture in the middle of the room, maybe some basic downlights or spotlights. That that's gone. People are wanting boutique home lighting. They're wanting stylish wow factors with LED strips recessed into the wall. They want things working on sensors. They want things based on time of day. They want things automating, color changing to
Mm.
add vibrancy and distinction to things in the home.
And these things that you're discussing, Gamble, are not ridiculously expensive. It's just a matter of designing appropriately with some experience and thought that you can implement for these solutions that are coming down the road. But these are super cycle things that are here now. Like this LED game. I mean, the LED game is out of control right now. The things that you can do with uh, lighting and tape lighting and controlled lighting is just amazing. And it's just a matter of having a home technology professional that has worked with these devices that know how to access them and how to apply them to make a really incredible experience.
You know, when we're explaining the super cycle, we're talking about the analogy that the the greatest technology available is piling up at your front door. At some point, it's just going to come crashing in. And rather than being overwhelmed by it, engage with the pro, do your own research, understand what parts of the smart home supercycle are going to suit you. You might have security requirements that will involve 4K resolution video, AI alerts and facial recognition and recording that can create clips of what happened, you know, at your front door over the day. It can recognize packages, it can recognize pets. If it's just security, you've got rabbit holes to go down and options. What we're saying is it's all the technology for the scenarios that how you want to live is available now. There is no wait now. It's here. It'll continue to grow, of course, but the maturity of the whole network, so the product, the and the professional network to install, maintain, and service is at, I think is at a peak right
Mhm.
now, and it will continue to go up. But you're talking about an industry who's just red hot at the moment.
Yeah, no doubt. And but network, I keep thinking about network and the foundation of the network and everything that we're talking about is based on that. Are y'all running fiber optic through homes right now, Gamble? Is that something that y'all are seeing a need for? And is it for future ready, or are y'all applying it immediately right now?
So there will be immediate requirements for fiber when there's a distance limitation. So we're immediately tuned in to using fiber when we're exceeding 100 meters. But if there are, you know, network speeds and bandwidth required, if we need to deliver even on shorter runs, if we need to deliver a lot of bandwidth, there's a strong argument for fiber.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those companies that's putting it to TV outlets. I'm not putting it. Maybe 20 years ago, I might have thought about doing that. My military background was fiber to desks. We would cable offices with fiber optic to desks, but we had military equipment that needed fiber optic rather than a copper Ethernet style connection. I'm still a believer in good quality copper cabling, Cat 6A, Cat 7 on occasions, but our standard is a Cat 6A cable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're piping fiber optic straight from the external of the house into, let's say, the home run panel. Then the
Yeah, that makes
service
sense.
can
Yes.
then convert it into your copper.
Yes.
Um, and then also we're looking at fiber for like those HDMI runs. and you can use extenders that then convert your fiber optic back and forth for you, so you can have your best signal quality, particularly if you have to run something in long distances. But yeah, I was wondering if you were getting any requests over there for fiber runs or seeing a need for it.
No, again, even on the HDMI front, I will say as a business, we kind of followed your path from many years ago, the system local. So we try and cluster our equipment close to the display. So you might have very close by Apple TV, Fire Stick, a games console, the TV fully loaded with apps and access to all the streaming platforms. We've even the major UK cable box is Sky here in the UK. Their
Hmm.
new box is only slightly bigger than a Fire Stick. So you're looking at having it plumbed straight into the box. You can have up to six of those devices in your home. So six streaming packs they call them. And also that provider even has their own television that you can have in various sizes. So they have the Sky Glass TV. So you can have three of those TVs plus six packs. So you can have a nine device TV system without only needing Ethernet or Wi-Fi and power.
all all streaming.
Total streaming solution. Even there's no satellite dish anymore.
Hmm.
There is a still we're still endorsing having an aerial for the over-the-air antenna
Yeah.
coverage, which brings in some linear TV. But yeah, everything can be done on streaming, but then you've got to have the internet speeds to deliver that and the infrastructure to give you happy viewing.
Right. I like I like that we can interact with multiple devices now, and I just see more of that happening. And your displays, your televisions will be more set up as an activity center, and so no longer you're going to be just watching content on it, but it'll be more of like your daily goings on, and so your weather will be displayed on there. And these are things that can you can do now. It's just a matter of setting up your televisions to perform this way, but having the weather on there is really cool. But I think you can also put your calendars on there if you want to be that public. You can do things like that, as well as just watch your content, turn it into a computer monitor, and surf the internet. It's that input zero that you've always been talking about, and really, it's output one, which is your arc output, is really what it is.
Yeah, and the other trend is the second screen, the phone or the tablet that's almost a companion to, okay, it might be a bad habit. Some people would say that's a bad habit. You're on your phone whilst you're watching TV, but the second screen can be supplementary to, you're communicating with friends about the program that's on TV.
Right.
You're researching something that they're talking about. I watch YouTube videos about history. I'm also doing Google searches on my phone or using Grok to to punch in, is this true? Is this is
Right.
this really underneath the pyramid? So
All
I'm
right.
like fact check, do my own fact checking. So yeah, the second screen, again, that TV area might have a real density of devices. You've got the TV, you've maybe got a streaming device, but if you've got four members of the house sitting around, there's four phones in close proximity. They've all got to get equal signal. There might be some wireless audio system happening with, rear speakers, maybe some Sonos era speakers, a sub tucked away. All that's got to be serviced by either hard wiring or wireless infrastructure.
Yeah. I'm over here thinking as you're talking, and man, I would just love Samsung to make a docking station that any app and every app that I have on my phone, when I dock it next to the TV, it was a mirror, and it just was my phone was my TV, and just like the TV didn't work unless my phone was docked into it. I would love that. I think that'd be Like all it is just a giant phone screen when I get home. You
Yeah,
know?
I think we've got, again, we've kind of got that in vehicles. Well, we do. We have Apple
Yeah.
CarPlay, we've got
I
Android
just want it
Auto.
in 75 inch, you know?
I know. And that should be wireless. It shouldn't even be a dock. You know, you can now do Apple CarPlay
Yeah.
wirelessly. My
Whenever I
van has that.
yeah, my car, Hope's car has it. I changed
Yeah.
Hope's my profile in Hope's car. Do you ever do this? Do you ever play games with your wife's car and change her profile in her?
Oh, we've got an old school family car. We've like the
Well, we got a new school one,
no,
and it
we're old
has a
school.
profile. And so whenever it gets in, uh, for me it says, "Hey, Big Daddy," and for Hope it says, "Hey, sexy lady." So little behind the scene canon humor, but yeah. No,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know why we were
But
talking about
what
that.
again? What about that? Getting back to the home tech angle, my home doesn't greet me. You're talking about your car,
Yeah.
knowing, being contextual to who has sat down in that driving seat. My house, you know, if I have a smart lock, it should know maybe I've got a unique PIN code. It should say, "Hey, Kris, welcome back. How was your day? Here's your playlist." You know, it should know that. And I know there are systems that do that. It's just, well, what am I saying? There are systems that do that. These are the things that are piling up outside your house, ready to make your life much better. I'm a firm believer that the smart home, and that's the reason why I do what I do, it enhances life indoors, in your home. It enhances it massively.
Yeah, Gamble. I cannot wait to see what else is on the super cycle horizon, but definitely it's going to be connectivity in the network. Definitely it's going to be intelligent lighting and a continued extraction of that and environment control, as well as awareness and understanding who is present in the environment and how, and really starting to take some of those uneducated automations that are available now and turning them into true intelligence of why, you know, that your house is reacting the way it is, or why your car is reacting to the way it is. And I'm sure there's some pretty highly engineered systems that might have that capability of doing that.
There is, and this is what we're going to expand on. Obviously, we had our gap in recordings. Please, though, go back into the archives of the Digital Ramble. You will find episodes on all sorts of product-specific platforms, voice assistants, you know, all the different facets of a smart home. We've covered it in topics. This little mini run we're going to be doing on the Smart Home Supercycle, because we're going to dive into the kind of all the pillars of it. It's such a big topic, such a big subject. We actually encourage comments. We really want to ask our listeners to give their feedback on how they're sensing the current climate in smart home. So do that. Spotify comments, YouTube comments, Facebook, like and comment it. We really would welcome the engagement, and we were glad to have engagement immediately on the comeback episode last week. Over 160 episodes in the back catalogue. Please go and check them out, and we appreciate our old and new listeners. So stay tuned for more episodes on a weekly basis from the Digital Ramble, and remember that if you don't know, find a home tech pro.